Give the gift of Rev Voice this Christmas. Rejoice with Rev Voice when you sign up and enter to win 12 days of giveaways, including a 2015 Jeep Wrangler from Bahamas Bus and Truck.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, a senior immigration officer accused of raping a Jamaican detainee. The F&M says rising poverty is the reason crime is up and the PLP is to blame. An anti-crime advocate calls for stiffer penalties as the murder count climbs. Plus, who will really benefit from new renewable energy laws? I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. Following reports in the Jamaica Gleaner of a Jamaican woman claiming she was sexually assaulted by a Bahamian immigration officer while detained at the Carmichael Road Detention Center, a senior immigration officer has been placed on administrative leave with immediate effect pending investigation of that allegation. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration confirmed that the matter is also before the police and the appropriate steps for disciplinary action have been taken. Additionally, the ministry advised that all necessary steps, including prosecution, suspension, and dismissal from the public service, will be applied where warranted. The statement added that the ministry wishes to indicate that it does not condone or sanction in any way, shape, or form abuse of any kind by any officer of the department, that it will not be tolerated, and that the strongest measures will be taken where there are violations of the rights of people. The allegations come as the Bahamas is already under increased scrutiny for government's recently implemented new immigration policy, which requires all non-Bahamians without proper documentation to be deported, including children born in the Bahamas to Haitian parents. The ministry's statement indicated that Minister for Immigration Fred Mitchell has spoken to the Honorary Consul of Jamaica to the Bahamas to convey his deep regret at the allegations and assured the consul that the matter will be thoroughly investigated. The minister also intends to send a diplomatic note to the Jamaican foreign minister. Meantime, the Department of Immigration and Police raided a Rosetta Street club last night and arrested 6 Jamaican women, 2 Dominican women, and a Colombian woman, all on suspicion of lewd dancing and soliciting prostitution. The reported club owner was also arrested in that raid. Well, Free National Movement Chairman Michael Pintard says it's the rampantly rising poverty levels in the Bahamas that are directly contributing to the increase in crime and violence plaguing the country. Pintard said while being poor is no excuse for committing a crime, he can understand why many poor Bahamians are choosing that lifestyle. He said it's under the Progressive Liberal Party that poverty seems to be on the rise. A 2013 survey by the Department of Statistics revealed that 43,000 or 12.5% of Bahamians are living below the poverty line. Pintard also pointed out that it's PLP's stronghold constituencies in the inner city that experience the most poverty.
People are living under unacceptable conditions. And again, they are living in the constituencies that have been represented by members of the Progressive Liberal Party for decades, with few exceptions. Persons who are coming out of a home situation where they lack water and light, basic necessities, where they are second and third generation persons who are living with chronic unemployment or in impoverished conditions. It is very difficult, not impossible, but it is very difficult for you to get a number of those young men coming out of that situation, or even young ladies coming out of the situation, to make the kinds of decisions you and I believe are wholesome for both them and by extension for the society.
Earlier this week, Prime Minister Perry Christie told reporters that he will be judged in the next general election by how his administration manages the crime problem. He said the plan is to become more aggressive with offenders who've been granted bail. Pintard said government's Urban Renewal 2.0 program, which it heralded as the solution to crime when it took power of the country in 2012, is failing and more stringent measures are necessary to combat the problem.
We should have a sense of urgency about changing the living conditions that our people are in. It's no excuse. Poverty is no excuse for inappropriate behavior. But I can tell you it is a significant contributing factor. And so we should seek to eliminate those. Urban renewal, unfortunately, is not doing that. In fact, homes are being repaired, but it's one or two homes in a very long corner that has another 20 that requires the same attention.
In fact, Pintard is challenging the government to show the effects of the program in one area that it's been implemented.
The truth is, you are unable to go to one corner in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, despite the millions, tens of millions of dollars spent by the Christie administration on urban renewal, and see a corner that has been completely transformed. Just a corner. Just one corner. And so I'm saying our people have to have greater expectation of its political leadership, because obviously if the expectation doesn't change, we will get the same mediocre performance. And governments are patting themselves on the back. That's what this government is doing. 3-4 ministers, along with religious ministers and a marching band, patting themselves on the back for having broken down a shack that unfortunately our people lived in and then rebuilt a 600 square feet house that's in a neighborhood with multiple houses just like that.
Christie also told reporters that he believes the country is on the brink of an economic rebound, the likes of which will not be an issue at the polls. And CEO of the Hope Center, Pastor Carlos Reed, calls the murder count, which is nearly at 120, mind-boggling. He claims the judicial system played a major role in the amount of criminal activity in 2014. He said the government should create stiffer penalties for criminals in order to see a drop in the crime rate. He also said he has new initiatives he plans to introduce in 2015, which will hopefully put a dent in crime. Simone Davis has the story.
Reed suggested that the government find a better way to monitor criminals wearing ankle bracelets. He says even with the ankle bracelets, those criminals have too much freedom.
It's mind-boggling, but when we look at the situations, I believe that there are some things that actually can be done. I believe that the judiciary needs to really look at the situation and how do we now limit the movement a lot of persons that are put out on bail. We have ankle bracelets on them. All right, look here. In America, if you release on bail, they tell you where to go and where you can't go. You can't just move any way you feel like you find.
He noted that Bahamians often play the blame game when it comes to crime. He said if the government doesn't strengthen the country's judicial system, then crime will not slow down.
Situation with the judiciary and basically the government. The government has to find ways of how we sit down with the judiciary and we understand like what we can and we cannot do. I don't like the way we go about where we point fingers, this one is the fault and that one is the fault. The fact is, right, in the Bahamas, all of us have a problem until we sit down as intelligent adults and we come up with a system that actually works. I believe that our crime problem ain't going nowhere.
Reed suggested that members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force should try to build a relationship with the general public. He says if that is done, it would be much easier for officers to solve crimes because people would be more open to help them instead of being against them.
Speaking with a lot of persons on the street, they believe that the way the police carry out their actions, they make them feel as if like the police is the only one that have the answers. The police on one hand have to find a way of how they build relationships with the general public, where the general public feel no way in trying or wanting to assist them, where they could come forward with information.
He said the main focus of 2015 is to figure out a way to become more influential on a national stage since crime has rapidly become a national issue.
We've been doing a lot of intelligence. I'm basically work along with the Ministry of National Security. We've been doing some work in some schools. We've tried some things that we are now tweaking to find out like basically how they become more influential on a national stage.
He says one of the new initiatives he is excited to introduce in 2015 is the Violence Breakers, which is a program that helps persons involved in gangs and crime to make life changes. He noted that he also plans to continue the shock treatment for young boys and visit schools and have weekly sessions on conflict resolution. Reporting for NB12 Weekend, I'm Simone Davis.
While Minister of Tourism Obi Welchkin believes that 2015 will be the year of full recovery for the Bahamas tourism sector, Welchkin acknowledged that the Bahamas faces stiff competition from other Caribbean countries and noted that hotel room growth and a series of airlift initiatives still stimulated the recovering industry, particularly in New Providence and Grand Bahama.
We've held our own. We've seen airlift in particular grow by about 5%, not where we want it to be yet. Of course, with next year, all the inventory coming back on stream, I think we're going to be good. I think next year is going to be the year of full recovery for tourism. And pray God that we're not having to deal with any of the hurricanes and stuff like that. I think that we'll be okay because you're going to see Bahama open up. You're going to see the Holiday Inn open up in March next year. You're going to see new airlift come on board, of course.
Welchkin also noted that forward bookings for the Rosewood and Grand Hyatt hotels are well over $1 million mark. Ahead of the spring opening, he anticipated a series of announcements related to Grand Bahama to be made in the coming week. He mentioned direct flights from U.S. states to that island, which would create up to 500 new jobs.
We're going to be making some announcements about Grand Bahama later this week and early next week, where there'll be new cruise lines going to Grand Bahama and an addition of 400 or 500 new jobs. So a number of things are happening. I think Grand Bahama is going to see a great year. New Providence is going to see an even greater year because with Bahama coming on board, we feel good about Bahama. In fact, with a meeting just last week, looking at some of the new restaurants in the Malaya, they have 4 brand new restaurants, exciting restaurants, new trendy restaurants. In addition to that, Rosewood and Hyatt are talking about their forward bookings already looking very good and well over the $1 million mark. So things are looking very good. And
stay with us when NB12 returns. Laws to allow the tying of solar power generation to the BEC grid will do little for the average Bahamian, says the BEC chairman. We'll tell you about that story and more when we come right back.